spelling first and title.
Jeremy Novak, Vice President of Development with 360 Real Estate Solutions, JEREMYNOVAK.
You can just look at us and ignore the camera.
Okay.
So the question everyone wants to know is, where is it at as far as how that development is going at Kmart, or what used to be?
So it's, we're still in pre-development, and as I mentioned to the commission today, we are, we're continuing to massage the numbers with respect to the rents, for the income on the property, the project costs, and we redid the site to some degree to try to get those costs down. And then the biggest obstacle we face is interest rate right now.
Is it fair to say that before you even knock a wall down from the old Kmart, you got to have all the numbers in the right place?
That's a great point. Before we can take the building down, because we don't want to, if it goes back to what it was previously zoned at, the property owners are going to want to maintain the ability to do something with that building. Right? They could fix it up, get it back into use somehow, some form, based upon the zoning that's there. It most likely won't be a U-Haul because that was a different zoning that they were going for. But it could still be a commercial use of some sort, right? Maybe Ace Hardware wants to go in there. And I'm just speculating, but having the ability to do something with the building is better than having no ability to do anything with it and then losing that opportunity. And so before we even start tearing walls down or tearing anything out, we're gonna make sure that we have the ability to move forward on this project.
Yeah, you mentioned that zoning going back. You had it rezoned in 2020. Well, not you, but the city rezoned it in 2022. Is that going away? Could you explain that a bit?
Yeah, so it went from commercial zoning to a planned development district, which we got the zoning for a planned development district, which just means that we have mixed use there. So we have a mix of commercial and residential uses on the site. And we asked for an extension on that about a year ago. So that extension will expire in about 6 months. Our goal is to continue having that zoning. It's still gonna be a mixed use. We're still going to have a commercial element. We're still going to have residential component there. And so that particular zoning, we wanted to maintain that zoning. We changed some small elements of the plan whereby we reoriented some of the buildings and changed the density. So we had about 200 apartments previously as we had it laid out. Now we've got about 197. So we're still meeting that number that we were looking for, but we took out the underground parking to reduce costs, right? So we're trying to push on these different levers, which is interest rate, rent rate, and project costs. So we're trying to figure out the different pieces that work to get it to where we can get it to come together.
360, still very optimistic about how you're doing this project?
We're still working very hard on it. Yes, we're optimistic that we can make something happen here. Otherwise, I wouldn't be working on it. And I wouldn't be here updating the commission on it.
Did they ask you to come in and update, or is it you said it's time for us to?
Well, so we've had conversations with staff. So we keep staff updated on progress, and staff, one of our last conversations said it'd be great if you could come in and give the commission an update on where you're at. So I have the application ready to go. We're just continuing to look at those numbers and make sure we can get financing in place.
One last thing, because I know you got to get somewhere.
Yep.
Since interest rates are such a big part of this, are there any other 360 projects that are being affected by this, or any other projects in general you know of that
All
hit
of them.
this? All of them.
Yeah, and on the record, we have a couple smaller projects with 10th and Division, the Mayo block that is in progress. We're working on 7 Copeland and River Point here. So this is impacting all those to some degree. When you look at a project, the scope and scale of Copper Rocks, when you're talking almost $50 million project versus a $5 to $7 million project, your scope and scale is much different, and your margin for error is actually less, right? And so we want to do this and do it the right way, without getting into it and then finding out we can't make it happen. So this is part of the process, and it's hard.